tonight's webinar, Drowning Prevention, Everyone's Responsibility. My name is Sarah Miller, and I'm the Senior Policy and Advocacy Network Advisor here at Child Care Aware of America. I just wanted to touch on a couple of quick topics before we dive into tonight's webinar. First of all, I know that many of you are going to ask about our certificates, which are now automatically sent out to everyone who qualifies, which means that you participated in more than 75% of tonight's webinar live. So you can look for those certificates to be sent out at some time tomorrow morning. If you have any questions regarding your certificate, you can shoot me an email, but those will be sent out tomorrow automatically. And if you have any questions tonight during the webinar, feel free to type those into the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll leave some time at the end of the webinar to answer any questions that you may have. And now I'm going to hand it over to Kathleen, who's going to start the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, depending upon where you are. I just lost my visual. I don't know what happened. Show my screen. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm trying to go along with you. Sarah, you're going to have to move my slides because for some reason it just disappeared. Sorry, everyone. The Pool Safely campaign, that's what I'm here to talk about.
Kathleen, it has your slides showing right now, so if you just want to click through your PowerPoint, they're up on the screen.
Yeah, but I can't see it. I don't know what happened. I lost it on my screen. So I'll just have to give you the numbers I have. I don't know what happened. I still have the on-air screen showing. Sorry, everyone, for this little bit of business in the background, but I'm going to start off with the campaign, Pool Safely. Pool Safely is brought to you from the Consumer Product Safety Commission. And Sarah, it says I'm no longer the presenter. I don't know what's happening.
I have your slides pulled up on my screen, so everyone can
see them. All right, here we go. Okay, Pool Safely is from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, and we are now into our 4th season. We launched the campaign in 2010. If you go to slide 2, please, this is a visual of our current website, and I particularly picked this page because on Wednesday of last week we launched the campaign for the summer 2013 season, and our press release was a call to action from CPSC, teach all children how to swim and put a fence around all pools. We particularly chose these 2 issues of the many things that we talk about to make pools safer because the most vulnerable children are those aged 1 to 4 who manage to get into swimming pools or spas because there is a lapse in supervision. And they are really the most vulnerable. Then there's also the issue, we've been working with organizations like USA Swimming and CDC, of African American and Hispanic children. African American children are more likely to drown in swimming pools than white or Hispanic children, and Hispanic children are not learning how to swim, not at the rate that white children are. So that's why we focused on those 2 groups when we talked about our campaign this year. 3rd slide, please. Pool Safely supports the Virginia Graham-Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act, which is the only federal law that mandates certain features on swimming pools. It mandates special anti-entrapment drain covers on public pools. So for private pools or residential pools, as we call them, we recommend that they put that on, but a residential pool and spa owner does not have to make that change. Although if you have a pool and you had to go out and get a new drain cover, there's no option. The only drain covers for sale are anti-entrapment. Some of you may have heard of some incidents where a child or anyone can become entrapped on a drain cover because of the circulation and suction or because of a hair entrapment. And these are horrific accidents. Children have become disemboweled, lost their lives. Virginia Graham-Baker is the girl who lost her life in a spa in a residential pool because she was stuck on the suction force of the drain cover, and she couldn't free herself. Nor it took 2 men, and they broke the drain cover getting her off, but by then she had drowned. So these are the kinds of things the act was meant to avoid. But when we were putting the campaign together, we realized that there's a bigger problem in that the numbers are much greater for drowning, children's drowning, and we focus on pools and spas. Not, of course, children drown in other bodies of water too, and they need supervision wherever they go, and they need to learn how to swim. Pool Safely is the public affairs education information program supporting the Act, and the campaign's goal is to save lives, as I said, by eliminating entrapments and drownings. I linked to 2 reports that just came out last week. If anyone's interested, I can provide those, or I can provide copies of this PowerPoint to anyone who wants it, and it has the submersion and entrapment reports. The submersion report states that we still have approximately 390 children under 14 drowning every year just in pools and spas, and of those, 76% or close to 300 are between the ages of 1 and 4 years old. Next slide, please. So the campaign itself is meant to focus on, as I said, the drowning prevention and the entrapment prevention. And Pool Safely, and I welcome anyone to go to our website and look around. How we sustain ourselves and get the word out nationally is to have partners. We invite organizations. We invite child care centers. We invite children's safety advocacy groups. We invite communities and public health advocacy groups to join us to use our materials. We provide free materials such as handouts and little, some people, gimmicky items to get people interested in drowning prevention and to get them to pay attention, because that's what we need people to do. As the title of this webinar tonight, everyone's responsibility. It is everyone's responsibility. If you're at a pool and someone is in trouble, you want to help them. You have to be qualified. You have to know what to do to help somebody, even if it's just getting the right tool to them to help them get out of the deep water, or it might even be doing some rescue work, or it could be just telephoning. But you really need to know what to do. You might even need to perform CPR. And you can learn how to perform CPR, and it's not difficult, on an adult and also on a child or even on a baby. There are different techniques for children and babies, slightly different, less pressure, of course. The next slide, please, which is slide 5. Sorry, I have to move my own thing down. So the campaign sustains this message by having many, many partners, and we have a list of partners at different levels. Different partners get involved at different levels. Some people will do an event with us. Others will just take our materials and disseminate them to their constituents, to their customers. We'll have a Pool Safely operator who will hand out our materials when they service someone's pool to remind people of what they can do to prevent drowning. And we really need to remind people all the time. It's very easy when you're at a pool and you're having a good time to forget that you have to remember safety. Too frequently we hear about a party going on and a 3-year-old wandering off or getting in the pool, or someone not paying attention to a bunch of kids in a pool when a little child is in trouble. And when they're in trouble, they're hard to see. You really, particularly if they're with a group, or because they're fighting just to stay up, you might not see much more than the top of their little face and nose trying to get some air. So this is what our campaign is about. We provide these materials, which I'm going to show you in a minute, so that we can spread the word, expand the knowledge about drowning prevention and what everyone can do, and also learning how to swim. We want people to learn how to swim. It's an important life skill, and it's a pleasurable life skill. And we're particularly interested in getting families involved. We're urging families who may not have a habit of practice of going to pools and being around pools to learn how to swim. Just one very brief short story. There's a place called the Josh, there's an organization called the Josh Project in Ohio. And Josh was a young man of 16, African-American man, and he went to his mother one day and he said, "Mom, I'm going to go out with kids to the river, and we're going to, hang around the river and swim," or whatever. I don't know if he used the word swim, but we're going to the river. So he went along to the river with his friends, and they all went out on a raft. The only trouble was that Josh didn't know how to swim, and his mother, Wanda, who started the Josh Project now, which teaches kids to swim, was stunned later when she realized that she never said to her son, "But son, you don't know how to swim," or "Please make sure you wear a life vest because you don't know how to swim." And it just didn't even occur to her. She had no family history of swimming. Unfortunately, there was an accident on the raft. All the kids fell in the water, and Josh drowned. So she started her organization. But drownings can happen so easily, and they happen so very rapidly. What we do is every year around this time of year, we have several events, and we had our first splash, as I said, last week. We are supporting the world's largest swimming lesson nationwide on June 18th, which we are giving materials, handouts, what we call kits, to all of the pools in the U.S. or the pools who participate in this event. And you can go to the World Water Park Association or go to WLSL.org to find out how to join this event and to get people in your area in the pool and swimming if you should be affiliated with a pool. We will also be doing another event in late July. Again, we have free materials. I'm going to be showing you those in a couple of minutes. And we have outreach and promotion, which is public service announcements. We just released new TV, radio, and billboard, bus signs, and those kinds of things, and these are available. We send them out to TV stations and radio stations all over the country, urging them to use them on a regular basis. And also we have billboard signs, bus mall signs, and mall signs, and those kinds of things that could be made available to any municipality who would be willing to post them. We don't have much funding for actually doing the printing ourselves, but we might be able to help a city or a municipality that could get them inside buses, and they come in different sizes. And we're constantly updating our website and adding new partners and putting up all kinds of shareable material and information and videos. So now I will show you some of those things. If I can see slide 7, this is just a sampling of some of our billboards and older PSAs. The item on the lower left is a fan. It's a heavy plastic-coated item that has pool safely tips on the back. We make those available. Right in the middle we have stickers. There are billboards shown there. Part of our website is shown there. Slide 8, please. Our public service announcements. And because I don't think I'll be able to show these to you, but basically it's a 30-second TV spot that's available in English and Spanish. You can look at it on our website. The radio broadcast spots are also 30-second in English or Spanish. And our PSAs are billboard signs. Slide 9, please. This is just a sampling of billboard and bus signs. We use different children to show them. We focus this year on swimming. The first 4 are the billboard type signs, bus signs. Bus signs have more writing on them. I've put in the billboards. If you can click down to 10, 11, and 12, again, these are the billboards. Now when you get to slide 13, this is the kind of thing we would put also in a mall or in a bus. And it has, in addition to teach kids to swim, it can name the difference between a close call and a call to 911. We've got pool safely, always watch kids around water, fence all pools, stay away from drains. And then it says you never know which safety step will save a life until it does. It gives our website, poolsafely.gov, plus we also put our partners on there. NDPA is one of our partners. The Red Cross is one of our partners. The YMCA is one of our partners. We have many high-level organizations that are partners. These things can be printed off of the website and also taken to a professional printer and made to very large size. And we hope to be getting these in buses and on billboards around the country. Next slide on 14, please. This is just a sample of, and it's only a part of a portable pool tip card. And this is a 2-sided card on a heavy stock paper, glossy. And it has tips for portable pools. We find in some neighborhoods now the portable pool featured in this picture is one of those older type. But there are these new, very inexpensive ones that you can get at Walmart or other stores that have soft sides that a little child, maybe a little bigger than that little boy featured there, could push their way into. A lot of people are putting these up and they're not putting a fence around them. These are really, really dangerous. 9% of the drownings that we read about that we learned about each year, 9% are showing up coming out of portable pools. And the reason is because kids can get into them. If you have a larger portable pool, it should be fenced. It should have a ladder that gets stored away. Smaller ones, like this size here, should be fenced. And the really small ones should be turned over, emptied, and put away, because they can collect rain as well. A very small child can drown in just a very, very little bit of water. On to slide 15. This is our Water Watcher card. We make these available. It comes on a lanyard. And these are very popular because what we are encouraging people to do is when you are the water watcher, and it says, I am responsible for watching children to protect them from drowning, the back of the card has our 7 safety steps. Watching children all the time, putting a fence around the pool, putting an alarm on a door if your door leads from the back, from the house to the pool, learning how to swim, practicing CPR, making sure you have a gate that self-latches and is at least 4 foot, 5 foot preferably high. This is what we want to remind people to do because people think that they are practicing safety, but they're not. They could be a lot safer. And also have safety equipment nearby, a reaching pole. If someone's in the pool and you can't get in to help them, or you're not trained to help them, you want to hand them a pole. If it's a child, of course, you're going to have to go in and get them. A swimmer. Too frequently, a grandmother or someone is watching a child that doesn't even know how to swim, and they're and is watching a child near a pool. That's a very dangerous situation. Moving on to 16. We have some things for preschool programs. One of them is very simple. It's online, or I can send you a DVD. There are these 2 little characters called Splish and Splash, and they go to the pool together. They go to the home pool. They go to the community pool. The little character on the right is Splash, always in trouble, doing the wrong thing. And this is an interactive video which a parent or a caregiver can sit with a child from preferably 2.5 or 3 to 5 and go through all the steps so that every time Splash makes a mistake, the little kid goes, no, 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 Splash should be doing this. Basically, he should be listening. He should not be going into the water without supervision and that sort of thing. And that's a lesson we want to teach the kids because you can't be with them 24/7 sometime. And if they know, I'm not going near that water because there's not a parent nearby, there's not someone that can help me, I'm not going to do that. That's one of the things we want to teach them. I also have a limited number of copies left of something called Safe Start, a water program. This is a curriculum that has been used in about 8,000 Head Start programs. It comes on a DVD. It's in English and Spanish, and it is reusable. There's downloadable material, printable handout material, flashcards for kids that get them, making the answers. This is no or go or don't go kind of thing. You don't go near a pool without a parent, or you don't go near a bucket. So this also teaches safety around the house. Any water-bearing vehicle can be dangerous to a young child. I have these available as well. I can send them to people. They're reusable. I send them out to preschools, and I send them even to kindergarten sometimes. Next slide is just a slide about some of our partners, and this is a listing of some of our partners. We have more, and we welcome any organization that works with children and works with safety and health to join us as a partner at the campaign safety leader level, or even just to be a part of the campaign safety community, which would mean that you would get our materials and you would use them when you have the appropriate event. Slide number 18, please. So just to emphasize that the printed materials are free of charge. We pay to ship them. There are customizable PDFs. I've shown you some of the potential posters and things like that. You can even put your logo on them. We have social media. We're on Twitter. And we have online engagement for partners, meaning that, for instance, NDPA's videos are on our site. You can link to NDPA from our site as well as other partners. Slide 19. I just wanted to show you, and I'm not going to show the videos, but we have quite a few videos. I can send some of these to you in hard copy. Now, this first one is for people who actually take care of pools, but the next page, slide 20, has 5 different videos that are available for the different purposes. One very popular one is the educational video. It just runs on a loop. People use it at events, and it shows the safety steps. Another one, Simple Steps for Safer Pools, is one of the best, and this is an NDPA product. This is one of the best steps for safety in backyard pools, both in English and Spanish. There are hard copies available, and it's also available for downloading online. And my next to last slide, which is the resources slide, there are my contact details, the Pool Safely contact detail. You can contact me. You can go to Pool Safely, order materials. All of our videos are on YouTube and also on our website. And you can sign up for our listserv. We send out messages in the summertime every 2 or 3 weeks. You won't hear from us much in the colder weather, but occasionally we'll send something out if we know or have some news. And finally, slide 22 is just a picture of a launch with Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, who is a representative from Florida who was very influential in getting the Virginia Graham-Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act passed. Finally, 23 is a picture of the little girl, Virginia Graham-Baker, who was 7 when she died in 2002. She was stuck to a drain cover, and she is the person for whom the act was named. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass it on to Kim now, and I'm going to stand by and wait for any questions that you might have. Thank you. Hello?
Hello? All right, slideshow from the beginning. Show my screen. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm trying to get my computer going here. I'm a little slow. I'm Kim Burgess. I'm the Executive Director of the National Drowning Prevention Alliance, and I wear many hats. So I'm going to sort of go over those real quick because I'm going to keep interchanging back and forth between my job duties. But here in Broward County, Florida, which is in Fort Lauderdale, I'm the Drowning Prevention Coordinator for the Florida Department of Health, and I'm also the chair of our Child Abuse Death Review Team, and we review all deaths of children who come in through the abuse hotline number. So the National Drowning Prevention Alliance is just a national public awareness and outreach program for water safety and drowning prevention. And we're going to go through, and I'll tell you a little bit about this. With the NDPA is that we believe that drowning is preventable. We know through our data and through all of the information that we get from the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the Center for Disease Control and through our child death review teams that every drowning was preventable. A real brief history of the NDPA, we started in 2002, and we've continued to grow with that, and one of our major partners that helped us really launch into the national scene was the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They got funding from the Virginia Graham-Baker Act to help us, nonprofits or drowning prevention organizations do a national campaign, and we partnered with the Consumer Product Safety Commission to do that. Here's the thing that we have adopted. It's called the Safer 3. The Safer 3 is it's because the drowning industry, if there is such a thing, the drowning group, we don't have a quick saying like everywhere in the country you see click it or ticket, and you know you're supposed to wear your seat belt. But we don't have anything like that. So we're all trying to adopt something that would be easy to recognize, and the Safer 3 came up as a good reminder to all of you, parents and child care workers and owners, is that when you're working with children and you have children, you know there is no such thing as safe. All you can do is make them safer. And so if you recognize the areas that are water-related, whatever they are, if it's a bucket of water, if it's a canal, if it's a boat, if it's an ocean, if it's a pool, if it's a bathtub, whatever it is, recognize the risk, and then try and implement ways to reduce the risk with that body of water, whatever it is. One of the things I want to talk to you about is this myth of layers of protection. I don't know how many times the parents that I've talked to had a fence up, and they said, I thought we were protected. We were protected. We had a fence. Well, in reality, there is no such thing as safe, especially if you have a 2-year-old boy. There is no such thing as safe. All you can do is make them safer. And the more barriers you have in place, the safer they're going to be. So what we try and do is, let me tell you that we advocate supervision, but is that possible 24/7? No. So the more barriers you have in place, the safer the child's going to be. If you have one layer of pool fence and that child decides they're going to go in, around, over, or through that fence, then that only buys you so much time before you find the child. But if you have door locks, door alarms, the fence, child knows how to swim, you know CPR first aid, you have the proper equipment, then you can get to that child quicker because they've now passed through many barriers, and that just slows them down. It doesn't stop them, it just slows them down. Some kids, it might stop. Some kids, it will not. In my own home, I've seen my boys climb over the fence. We actually took ours down, only because I have 3 boys. And they know how to swim, and I'm vigilant about that. And we have door alarms, and I know CPR first aid. But the fences will just slow them down. So the door alarms will just slow them down. Here in Florida, 90% of the drownings, and here in Florida we have more drownings than anywhere, 90% walked out the door without the parents even knowing about it. And I don't know about the child care facilities, if you guys have alarms and locks and the kids can get out, but if there's an alarm or if there's a way that lets you know that the child has walked out the door, that's the most important. And then everything else on top of that, the more barriers that are in place, the safer you're going to be. There is no such thing as peace of mind. You're dealing with children. There's no such thing as peace of mind. There's no such thing as safe. The more barriers you have in place, the safer you're going to be. But you can't put your guard down and think that your child is going to be safe just because you have a door alarm or because you have a fence. That's not going to happen. Lifeguards drown. They're swimmers, but they do risky behavior that will cause them to drown. So this swimming lessons, very important. We've shown through research that if a child has lessons, it reduces the risk of drowning by 88%. So now we know that swim lessons is a viable means of protection, not protection, forget that, prevention for a child. But you can't rely on just that. I love the Consumer Product Safety Commission, their little tagline that says you don't know which step's going to save the life until it does. But you have to have all those steps in place to know, because it's just going to buy you time until you can find the child. So there are other types of water. Here in Broward County, it's just not pools. 30% of our drownings, children 1 to 4, are in canals and lakes. We had 2 in bathtubs last year. So you child care providers and parents, if a baby is left in a tub alone, chances are they're going to drown. You cannot leave a child alone in a bathtub. It happens. We had drowning here last October. A 7-month-old little girl who was paraplegic, her dad decided to, 19-year-old dad decided to leave her in the tub while he went to a fast food restaurant to eat. And then he came back, and of course she had drowned. So you can't leave a child in the tub. So Kathleen went over entrapments. I'm not going to go over there. Never, you guys should know this, never swim alone. I'm thinking Sarah's going to have all this available for you guys. But the 1 to 4 age group is the very most important, and I can tell you because of the position I am at the Child Abuse Death Review Team, we actually have the director of the child care licensing is coming to our meeting in June because we've had several children drown who were at daycares. And so this 1 to 4 is very important that the daycare workers, the mothers, if you have a 2-year-old child and the daycare is going to take them to the pool, I wouldn't do that. I would not let my child go to a water-related field trip who was only 2 or 3 years old. It's just not, I just don't think that's a smart move. Remember, we're trying to reduce the risk. The other thing is why I'm on this risky teams is that most of your lifeguards at your pool facilities and water theme parks are teens or early 20s. The lifeguards there are not babysitters. They are there to respond to an emergency. And so they're not there to watch your children. So if you're thinking that if you're at the beach or you're at a water theme park or you're at a pool, and just because they have lifeguards does not mean that they're watching your child. It means that if something were to happen, they're qualified and certified to respond to that emergency. So don't think that they're going to babysit your children. You're the parent, you're the daycare worker, you're the person in charge of that child. They're your responsibility, not the lifeguard. If you have a non-swimmer or a weak swimmer, put a life jacket on them. Make sure it's Coast Guard approved. Let's go here. The other, we talked about our partnership with the CPSC and the Pool Safely campaign. These are some of our programs. This is from the CPSC. This is what they gathered at the end of last summer. So these are just children younger than 15 that died during the summer, just the summer months, June to August last year. This is a program that we started here in Broward County. It's called Water Smart Babies, and it is a program directed specifically to pediatricians. Our child care directors down here use the program as well, but it goes supposedly from the pediatrician directly to the parent, and then the child care directors support the program and make sure the parents go and get this information. And this is all based on, it's a booklet that the parents get, and it has all kinds of information in it for drowning prevention and water safety. You can go and get a door alarm for a child or for your home. You can get 2 door alarms for $10 at Radio Shack or Lowe's or Home Depot. One alarm is a chime, and the other one is that annoying sound that it makes, that sound. When the alarm is separated, it goes off. It does not go back on again until the door is shut. We know that in every single case, the kids did not close the door behind them. So you can go out and get those alarms. They're next to nothing. And it's, because people complain, oh, swim lessons are too expensive and the pool fence is too expensive. If you've had a fatal or non-fatal drowning, there's a pool fence company here in Florida, but he's all over the United States. And he will come in and install a pool fence for free if you've had a fatal or non-fatal drowning. So our next program that we're working on is what we call the NDPA Seal of Safer Pool Practices, and that's for Class C pools, and that's pretty much any pool, like if you happen to be a daycare and you happen to have a pool, that would be a Class C pool. And if the health department comes out and inspects it or licenses it, it's a Class C pool. So this was mainly developed because there are so many drownings in apartments and hotels and condos. Apartments, hotels, condos are your biggest source of Class C pools, and they typically do not have a lifeguard on duty. So what this does is it gives the hotel a better risk management plan for drowning prevention. And it just puts things in place that sort of puts the onus onto the parents, like touch supervision. If you've got a child under the age of 5 and they're non-swimmers, the parent should be within touch supervision of that child. They can't leave the child at the step and decide to go and get drinks at the bar and come back 15 minutes later and expect the child to still be there. So it's a signage, and it's a checklist of things that the hotel must do in order to get this seal. It's sort of like the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval type thing back in, I don't know if they even have that anymore, but I'm old enough to remember it. So this is where this came from, is this seal of approval type thing for these aquatic facilities. But it also works for daycares, YMCAs, Jewish community centers, any public pool whatsoever. These are social media on the NDPA. We're like 23,000 strong in our outreach to direct people, direct customers in our, through our Facebook, LinkedIn, and our website. Our newsletter goes out. This is what we have, some of the stuff, and of course everything includes the Pool Safely campaign. We have videos which Kathleen talked about. You can get those at the ndpa.org. We also have a membership through the NDPA, and we have to update this. This is 18,000. We're up over 22,000 now. This is our newsletter that goes out, and then we have our we started forming chapters. So anywhere in the country, because I can't be everywhere, right? But if I give people with the knowledge and the resources and the skills and the opportunity to go out and start little mini National Drowning Prevention Alliances within their community, it now becomes a grassroots initiative. And I'm sorry, but that's 16 chapters. I should have updated this before I sent it off. We're up over 28 chapters now. We just started last year, last May. So we're growing, and those that's more of a grassroots effort. Anybody can get on this. You become a chapter. We send you a strategic plan. We send you everything that you would need to get going in your community, so that there are drowning prevention advocates in every community. We would like to be in every county in the country, but that's a lot to go. That's what we're shooting for. Where am I at? Here's our strategic plan. We've partnered with the United States Swim School Association. D&D Technologies is actually the founder of the NDPA. The Safer 3 organization, the Safer 3 Water Safety Foundation. This is that Safer Water, Safer People, Safer Response. I'm going to get into that in a minute. And then the United States Swimming Foundation, which is the nonprofit arm of USA Swimming. There, you can get involved too, become members. It's this are all of our contact information. Our next educational conference is in Orlando in 2014. I want to talk a little bit real quick. I know my time is coming to a quick end. The Safer 3, I talked about it earlier, is identifying the risk and then minimizing it. But you got to identify the risk of the water, the child, and your response. So the Safer Water, it's just identifying where the water hazard is, minimizing the risk, and doing away with it. If it's a bucket of water, tip it over and get rid of the water. If it's one of those inflatable pools, if a child's nose and mouth are covered, it's like less than 2 inches of water, a child can drown. So if you leave it, just because your child is sitting up in one of those inflatable pools and it's only waist deep and they're sitting there, if they're head heavy, they're going to go in. So tip those over when you're not done. When you're done using it, and of course with the pool, the fence, the alarms, the locks. If you have a lake in your backyard, the #1 cause children with autism who wander. 91% of the wandering deaths were drowning. They got out of the house without the parents knowing about it. Most of those parents did not have pools. The children wandered and found an open body of water somewhere. So it's not in your immediate backyard, but it could be 2 blocks away. You've got to minimize the risk of that water wherever they're at. The other is safer kids, safer people, whatever. Swim lessons, swim lessons, swim lessons. If they can't swim, Coast Guard approved life jackets. Swim near a lifeguard. They say swim near a lifeguard, not because a lifeguard is going to watch your child, but because a lifeguard knows how to respond to an emergency. So the most important is that getting those children into the lessons, and I can do a whole nother 2-hour presentation on the benefits of the child moving, and you guys being in daycares or child cares, you should know the importance of moving and learning at the same time, especially at a young age like that 3 to 6 to 9-month-old child when they're in the water and they're using both hemispheres of the brain and they're moving and learning and those synapses are created. You're creating a smarter child. I could go on and on. So that's the safer kid. And then, of course, the safer response. If you don't know how to do CPR, you should, because let me tell you, when we say that every second counts, when a child is underwater, you don't know at what point that second is going to go from perfectly fine outcome to slight brain damage to 5 or 6 seconds later brain damage to severe brain damage, and then a couple of seconds later could be death. So when we say get the child out and immediately start CPR, it's for a reason. You need to get air into that child's lungs and brain. The Red Cross and American Heart and everybody's going with this new compression-only CPR, which is good, except in a drowning. So you still have to do the full CPR with the mouth-to-mouth with the drowning. So, I'm done, looks like. So that's our next conference. It's devoted strictly to the educational research, products, resources, policy code with anything drowning prevention and water safety. We would encourage anyone who would like to come and join us. And if you have any questions, I'm free to answer any questions. And Sarah, I'll send it over to you.
Great, thank you. We do have some questions coming in here for both of you, actually. And Kathleen, I know that you had mentioned being able to provide materials for some of the people who are on today's webinar. And we do have quite a few questions about how to go about getting copies of the DVDs or some of the printouts. And I was wondering if maybe you had a contact email address that they could reach you at, or the best way for them to get those.
If you look at slide number, the best thing to do is to go to slide 21, if you can, or maybe you can post that for all of your participants. And you can get to me directly at Reilly, or you can, the second address, poolsafely@cpsc.gov. And that's the one, you've got it. So those 2 top addresses will, you can ask any question you like. I will get back to you. And if you need an order form, or if you just give me a little information about who your audience is, who you want to reach, and I may be able to recommend the right material or piece of material to send the message to that person. We have cute little things like little mini pool balls, we call them, and you blow them up, and kids like that. If you have kids, you may not have kids to send them to, but as far as sending the videos or the curriculum, I would be the person, and I'd be very happy to do that. And I also wanted to add one thing that I forgot to mention, is that CPSC also puts out an in-home drowning report every fall. And that report focuses on drownings in the home or around the home, not related to pool. And this would include, of course, bathtubs, buckets, toilets, ponds, little ponds or landscape features around the house, any vehicle, any vessel that would hold water. And we have information online about that as well. Of course, luckily or happily, the numbers are not as large as they are with pools. but you have about 90 children a year drowning in home accidents because someone leaves them in a tub or leaves them with a sibling in a tub. So those kinds of things, I hope you don't see them, but you might in the business that you're in. You just might.
Great, thank you. And then there was a question regarding cost, and those materials are available free of charge?
They are.
Great.
Now, except for instance, if someone knows that they're municipalities like the Washington Metro, we're allowed to put up Metro signs. They do not charge us to put the signs up. They'll charge us a one-time fee of $500. CPSC has to produce the artwork, of course, to give them, and then they post them around their different metros. This happens all over the country. Municipalities offer free space in buses, but you have to produce the signs. We don't have enough funds to do that in every municipality, and if someone knows of a bus line or a mall sign or even a billboard, we would be looking for someone to pay to have that artwork developed. But otherwise, everything we hand out is free, and as long as Congress funds us, we have this, not a huge amount of funding, but some funding, we're producing materials to make sure that people can learn about drowning prevention.
Great. A question came in here regarding this page that we currently have up on the screen, asking if it could be emailed out. And I was just going to say, since tonight's webinar is recorded, we will be able to post this on our website. And if you'd like, we can post a copy of these slides with the webinar so you have access to the recording and to the slides. Another question came in here. Do most states require fences around pools, and what else can be done to help make pools safer?
Kim, you want to take that one?
Most states, the states with the highest drowning rates, California, Texas, Arizona, and Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, they do have pool fence barrier laws, and Pennsylvania does too. The top 5, those are the top 5 states. They do have it. However, it's like here in Florida, it's from 2000 on, and so just here in Broward County, there are over 130,000 backyard pools. The law went into effect in 2000. So it is only required on the new pools, not the old pools. So there can always be more done. The thing with making the pool safer, I can tell you that in a lot of the drowning cases here in Florida, most of them were in the pools were very green, and so there's negligence going on as far as keeping the pool up. The kid goes in the water and they don't see them, and so they're checking everywhere but the pool. The pool is like you got to think of it sort of like as a gun. It's a loaded weapon. It's a deadly weapon, and you've got to put up as many barriers as possible to get to the pool. There's no such thing as a safe pool. So it's I don't want to scare you to death because it's the funnest thing you can do, and is to play around and splash in the pool. But parents, if your kids, no matter what their age, if they're in, on, or around the body of water, you've got to have eyeballs on them at all times. And if you can't have eyeballs on your kids every second of the day, then you need to put up as many barriers as you can possibly think of. We've seen video after video after video of children pulling the chair up and unlocking the door. They're going to get out. Where there's a will, there's a way. They're going to get out. All you can do is put up as many barriers as possible because, if 20, 30 seconds lapses, they can be on that pool face down before you ever get to them. So you've got to put up as many barriers as possible to slow them down. Sure.
Okay. We have a couple other questions in here, but I just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the question box over on the side of your screen. There are a couple of questions regarding certificates, and I just wanted to mention again, certificates will be automatically sent out tomorrow morning. You no longer need to send an email to me. They will be automated, and if you did participate in over 75% of tonight's webinar, you will receive that in your inbox. But I know we have had some problems with people who are logging in on a tablet versus through a desktop system. So if you don't receive one tomorrow and you feel that you should have received one, please feel free to shoot me an email at that time. A couple other questions here. The question here says, we are providing a wonderful opportunity for children. The state regulations have become something that we cannot give these children the skills that they need. What can we do in this situation?
Well, I do know that the two programs that the curricula that Kim and I talked about, either the I forget the name of it, the one that I have available, that we did with Safe Kids, and Kim has a Safer 3. These are meant for very young children, and these are meant to teach them about water safety. And listen, there's always going to be the kid who's going to take the risk, climb the fence, or do the thing that's not supposed to. He's not supposed to. But most of the kids, if you tell them about water safety and you warn them, don't go near the water, without your parent, or, don't do certain things. They learn. So that's what these curriculums are set up to do, to make them, to learn, for them to recognize when they're on their own how to be safe and how to keep themselves safe. Of course, it doesn't take the place of having a parent there all the time, but the parents aren't going to be there all the time. So these curriculum, I recommend that you get either one of these if you teach children, because, again, both of them are reusable, too. You can use them over and over again for different classes. And it really, they're meant to reinforce the lesson. So you do it for a week every day for like 40 minutes, and the kids really get this. So that's one thing. The Splish and Splash video is fun. If you do it one-on-one with a kid, that child can learn that way as well.
Okay, great. A couple other questions here. What are your thoughts on the swimsuits with floats inside them versus the arm floats that children use?
Hey, Kim, that's yours.
I was going to say, can I take that one?
Yes, please.
I think that the arm floaty thing should be recalled and taken off the market. They're dangerous. We've had many children who have drowned when those pop, or they had them on and then they go back in the water when mom's not looking and they drown. They can't use their arms. They're very ineffective. They're very bad. They don't keep their head up. They can go forward at any time. They're just floating out there with their arms out to the side, not doing anything. They're horrible. I don't like them. So those are very bad. The ones that with the flotations in them, as long as it's able to keep their heads up and it's U.S. Coast Guard approved, and you use it in conjunction with their swim lessons, then it would be perfect.
Okay, another question here is, are pool alarms generally safe, and what is the best kind to go with?
I would just say that they are another tool. You have to be listening for them. How many times do you hear an ambulance? Oh, I live in a city. So, you may hear an ambulance. You may turn your head. I'm busy working at a desk, and I hear some kind of the police car go by or something. I may not pay any attention. So they're good if you use them. If you have the alarm on the door that leads to the pool, or on a door any door that leads to the pool, and when you hear them, you get up and you pay attention. I've heard people tell me they're a nuisance because they may go, some people, it may be on an access door that a lot of people are using, so they turn them off. So then they're not useful at all. So I think it's a matter of how often you use them. I also wanted to warn everyone about doggy doors. There was a drowning earlier this spring. And this happens 2, 3, 4 times a year. Very young children, that 9 months, 10 months, 12 months, 13-month-old, crawling around the floor. They go through. They see the dog going through the door. If that door is open, they're going through the door. And unfortunately, if that's the door to the pool, they're going in the pool unless someone stops them, because they love the water. They're attracted to it. So if you counsel people or you know people who have pools and they have a doggy door, they have to. You just can't have a doggy door and a toddler, or not even a toddler. Even a 9-month-old. They drown, and that's really sad. But as I said, we hear that too frequently. So I'm sorry, I answered your question on alarms, but they have to be used. That's what got me going on that one.
Well, to follow up on that question, actually, there's a question about an alarm that is on the side of an in-ground pool. What are your thoughts on an alarm like that?
You mean the kind of alarm when someone goes in the water? Those are supposed to be very, very effective, because what happens if anything more than I don't know what the weight is, a few pounds, 2.5, 3 pounds goes in the water, an alarm goes off, so that someone will know. And one of my coworkers who lives in Florida has one of those, and the alarm went off one day, and he saved a squirrel. The squirrel got into the water, so he saved the squirrel's life. Luckily, happily, it wasn't a kid, and it'll never be a kid, but they do work, and they just sit on the side of the pool. It could be an in-ground, mostly it's in-ground pools, on the side, and they register waves through sound and go off when more than, I don't know what the weight is, frankly, but it's several pounds, I believe, hits the water.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like we're just about to 8 o'clock, and I think we've answered most of the questions in here, but I am receiving some emails right now regarding the materials. So, Kathleen, I may pass some of those on to you, and I will post these slides tomorrow as well as the recording of tonight's webinar. So if you maybe wanted to share tonight's webinar or the slides with somebody, they will be posted on our website by tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for joining us for tonight's webinar, especially Kathleen and Kim. Thank you for sharing your evening with us and giving us all of these great resources. But I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I hope that you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Night, Kim.
Night.